All right. So welcome to Aquarius new moon class, everybody. We're going to be using astrology for love and business today. I'm going to be going through Aquarius season. Really, the agenda today is pretty simple. We're going to go over Aquarius meaning in astrology. We're going to talk about Uranus and Saturn in astrology, which rules Aquarius. Write that down. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn. I know you might have heard different from other astrologers. Just go with it, and I'll explain more in a second, just so that you can break that down. But wherever you have Uranus and Saturn in your chart is really where you want to be manifesting today. I'll be showing you how I do it with my chart. And then at the very end of the presentation, we'll be going through and giving you some more examples of how to use it. This energy does last for 6 months. So when we get to Leo season, inside of Leo season, there will be Aquarius full moon. And that's where you'll see 6 months from now, the things that you've manifested come into some type of reality. Or if you gave yourself the proper steps, you'll also see that things will just manifest throughout from now until Leo season during that full moon. So if you didn't know that, by the way, for every new moon, there's a full moon in the year. So when you ask for something or you manifest something or you plan something, you start something, a relationship, a business, an idea, a project, a hobby, 6 months from that time period, you'll see exactly what effort you've put towards it is going to manifest for you. I've seen a lot about, there's a lot of people on TikTok right now who like, I don't chase, I attract. And I really do appreciate that energy. At the same time, I've never gotten anything without doing something for it. Internally, externally, psychologically, emotionally, physically, something needs to be exchanged. So we're going to go through what that looks like today with manifesting in astrology using the law of attraction, the law of assumption. And then we're going to talk about, of course, how to use your natal chart to create art, make money, and attract ideal lovers, if that's something that you seek. Go ahead and type 444 in the chat if you are catching everything I'm saying, just so I know that you're here with me. I know some of you might be doing other things right now in the moment, but I would really appreciate if we could have at least over half of you hit me with that 444. So some things that may be affecting you now that it's Aquarius season is struggles to be authentic. I know Aquarius is known as one of the signs that ghost people or, isolates themselves or, has a tendency to try to really understand themselves in a diverse way. That is what being authentic is. So let me turn on my video so y'all can see me or whatever. Hi. Okay, so the more, this angle's wild. So the more we set ourselves up for success with being authentic, the more we set ourselves up to attract the people that are our tribe members, our soul family, our soul group, our flame family, our twin flame. There's so many different names for people. So I'm not going to put them in a jar, but I just want you to be able to relate to what I'm saying. So if you're struggling to be authentic, this is the time period for you to start to express that you like anime, that you enjoy underwater basket weaving, that you like to clean the hooves of giraffes, whatever it is that you like to do. It's important that you share that because there's more than likely out of 8.8 billion people in the world, there's probably someone who likes it too. And you denying yourself from communicating with them is exactly what's causing this struggle. For every struggle, there's a solution. For every challenge, there's a solution. I know a lot of you later on, and I've had this happen before, where I'll open up the Q&A and you'll say, this placement is my problem. And I want to remind you that if you think it's a problem, it's also your solution. If your struggle is overthinking, which is point 2 here, you need to plan more. Overthinking equals underdoing. Overthinking means underplanning. Overthinking means undercommunicating. Overthinking means, you're just not letting it out properly. So we're going to channel in on a couple ways that I feel are going to be beneficial to you and others around you so that you can stop overthinking. Because again, overthinking just means that you're keeping it inside. That's the issue. Putting it outside of your body, into a journal, into a video, into a meme, into a reading, into art, into a conversation, into a speech, into a song. These are all ways that we use Aquarius energy. So go ahead and type 111 in the chat. If you collected all that information, I just gave you the keys, like 7, to leave overthinking. Because overthinking is definitely a strong tendency of air signs, because air signs do share and communicate ideas and thoughts. So if you ever have any questions about how to use Libra, Aquarius, Gemini in your chart, share ideas and communicate with other people. You cannot just do it in your head. It's not safe for your mental health. Okay. So go ahead and type in the chat, how do we use air? And I'll know that you all know, because it's probably going to be the exact answer to the majority of your questions later on. And I just want to give you the answer right now, because I know that you're itching and dying for it, right? So number 3 is not allowing thyself to feel like you. If you've been dissociating, if you've been feeling anxiety, PTSD, stress, I have all of these things. I'll never deny that I don't, but the ways that I work through them allow me to really understand and negotiate with myself. Is it worth being filled with anxiety, or should I make some videos about what I'm going through that will help other people to manage both people's anxiety? So I want to show you some ideas, some tips, some tricks on how to do that psychologically. And then we'll also follow up with the astrology. So these are just some people that I've helped on TikTok. If you're interested in TikTok growth, I am a coach. I went to school for social media. I actually have a degree in business and a minor in information technology. And I basically used to handle the budget for my college. It's called Century College in Minnesota. It was like $2.1 million. And essentially, I would plan every year what we would use that for. So I love advocating for larger groups, especially students, people who are learning. And I love getting them the tools that they need. So that was almost 7-8 years ago now. And I'm still doing the same thing, but astrology related, and I've become the teacher. So here in this setting, I'm really here to help you, one, grow on social media, because that's what I went to school for. I love just seeing people do what they want to do. And then 2, we use astrology to more so fine tune what kind of content, what kind of topics, what kind of things you should be talking about. And then if you really, really need my help, I'll just give you the trends. I'll give you ideas. I'll be an emotional support system for you. I'm a Pisces male, so it's something that I'm naturally built for. So I really want to bring that into your space. So these are just some people that I've worked with. Voodoo Priest Man. When I first started talking to him, he had, maybe 1,000, 2,000 followers. After like a week or 2 of taking my advice, he easily got to 43. I think he's sitting at like 100,000 something right now. This is Jasmine. Jasmine, I believe, is also well over 100,000 followers. She's an Aquarius sun. When I first met them, it was at a metaphysical shop that I used to pull cards for. Some of you have been with me since then. I actually started TikTok with tarot, and I was on tarot TikTok for a year. I didn't even break, 300 followers. The moment I started talking about astrology, because my Saturn is in Aquarius, which some of you also have Saturn in Aquarius like me, my videos started going very viral because I was giving out information that helped a lot of people. So if you're looking for content to do, give people content that will help them. I have seen a lot of people want to make educational content, but it's still not for people. So that's the small tweak I would make if you're looking to educate or build a community. Write this down: educate people for themselves and how to empower themselves. And this is another solution. Okay. This is Maxine. Maxine is one of the first astrotherapists that I've actually met, and we're like planning and plotting My group of people just got here, so I'm gonna, 1 second actually. Let me say one. All right, yo. So this is Maxine, um, really focused on astrotherapy, and that's really dealing with and looking at childhood trauma and then using it to create content, build a business brand. A lot of people avoid their trauma. A lot of people avoid their healing. Can you all hear me? Can you type 444 in the chat, 222 in the chat if you can hear me? Just to make sure. Thank you. So Maxine really specializes, she has a lot of Virgo placement. She specializes in writing. So I just gave her a couple pieces of advice, and she's also doing really well on TikTok in terms of her following. And then this is Esther. Esther is one of my good friends here in Cali. I'm in Cali, by the way, if you didn't know, right now on my midheaven line, which we can talk about astrocartography a little later. But Esther specializes in human design. So if you're looking for more human design information, she's really just starting to break into that. I'm also going to be starting to make more content about it now that I've educated myself on it. And I want to give you that kind of information. So mastering Aquarius season in astrology, everyone, means sharing and communicating your ideas. This is what's going to help you become more well-rounded. I know a lot of you are shy to talk about government, politics, expression, art, sex, relationships, all of these things that are foundational to human life. These are all topics that you should make fun of, that you should bring up, highlight, educating, talk about ideas that you have about other people's ideas. If you see something that, you know, you've been studying it for years, this is your opportunity to communicate that that is going to be something that you want to share with the world. Because if you don't share it with the world, why is it being held inside of you, right? A lot of times I see people, the only thing holding them back is themselves. And it's not even because they're not educated in what they want to express. It's most of the time because they feel like, who am I? Who am I to be sharing this? There's so many people that's better than me. There's so many people who've been doing this for years. And I'll say truthfully, I broke into the astrology community. The only reason why I'm so educated is because I had a mentor named Linda Zlotnick 3 years ago when I was homeless. And she literally let me sleep in her office for 2 months in the winter. And this was right before COVID. And I just read all the books that she had in her office in the night because I couldn't sleep because it was so cold. Sad story. At the same time, it allowed me to, you know, manage what an Aries rising meant. It helped me figure out what midheaven meant. She also created something called death charts, which is when someone dies, they also have a chart. So we can use the chart for a grieving process because you can see how someone left the world, just like how you can see someone entered the world using astrology. I am a part of an organization called OPA, which is the Organization for Professional Astrologers. I can say there's maybe 1 or 2 astrologers on TikTok, on Instagram that are part of this non-government organization of professional astrologers. And the network is like 200,000 astrologers deep. You know, some of the astrologers are like 90 years old. So these people are very versed in multiple planets and multiple dimensions around astrology that I have access to. And that's really how I became really educated on this. So today I'm really just going to simplify all the shit that I've learned and make sure that you understand it. biggest thing that we need to establish, you have all 12 zodiacs in your chart, which means you can use all 12 zodiacs in your chart. You do not need to have a planet inside of a house to use a zodiac. So I need everyone to type in the chat, 12 zodiacs are in my chart and I can use all 12. The beauty of this is we have access to all 12 at any given moment. What I like to recommend and practice myself is during the season of the zodiac that we're in, I just focus on that part of my chart for 30 days. So for example, I have Aquarius in the 11th house. All I do is focus on 11th house topics for 30 days, which means community building, friends, groups, innovation, technology. Like I'm literally in California with a group of content creators that are spiritual creators from another app, just hanging out because it's in my 11th house. So being very literal and practical with the astrology, I've noticed really brings a lot of abundance. And if you're someone who struggles with like structure, or if you're someone who struggles with consistency, using every 30 days in alignment with your chart will kind of help you figure things out. I know a lot of people, they'll say things like, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. It's a terrible time. All my exes are coming back. Well, sweetheart, you need to block them. You need to like set yourself up for success. If you want new people in your life, you have to close doors, right? So when you have all 12 zodiacs in your chart, also the nice thing is anyone that comes into your life or exits your life or in between, you can see that person in your chart. So if you meet an Aquarius moon or sun during Aquarius season, it means that that part of your chart is also being highlighted by that specific person. And you'll find out why if you pay attention to what kind of conversations that you have or what kind of insights you get while speaking with them or working with them, doing anything with them. So I just wanted to offer that information to you real quick. So this is going to be the foundational part here. You can screenshot this part. You can write this part down by hand, but I've created this little cheat sheet for you on how to read your chart. Of course, I want you to also to know I do have a Patreon where I go in depth in other classes on what Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Aries, Leo, Sag, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo means for every person, but I also have it right here. So Geminis are not toxic. They're not ghosters. I don't do that kind of astrology when we get into class here. I do it for the funny shit, but when we're talking like using this to actually change your life, the biggest 4 pillars are wherever you have air in your chart, and everyone has air, it's going to be Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, and that's where you create conversation. So if you're shy, you need to learn how to talk. How do you practice talking? Using social media, going out and saying hi to people. When you're walking past people on the street, just say hi, hope you're having a good day. That is you using your air sign placements. All you got to do is create a conversation. If you cannot stay inside of a conversation, that's fine. Practice staying inside of a conversation instead of leaving conversations so quickly or ghosting people, or if you don't know what to say, just not saying anything. Start a new conversation. Okay. I've had so many conversations where, things kind of fell off in the middle of the conversation. And then I'll ask them, what's your favorite fruit? What did you eat today? Tell me about yourself. How are you treating life? All of these simple little questions to re-engage using my air sign placements, which I really don't have any in my chart, but I still use the houses in astrology. So go ahead and type in the chat where and what you have in Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. And maybe if you even want to type in how you start conversations with people that you haven't met before, or when you're uncomfortable, what you say or do with people that you're just meeting. Okay. So, and this goes for North Node air signs. This goes for Chiron air signs. If you have asteroids, special points, if you have any of the Arabic lots, which we'll go into a little bit later, if any of these fall in an air sign, all you have to do is start the conversation. The biggest thing I want you to think about when I'm talking about Aquarius season is two individuals, Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, okay? Two very powerful, beautiful, strong women that are Aquarius placements. What do? They both have talk shows, literally. This is how simple the astrology is. They create conversations and bring people onto their shows and they talk to them. If you don't have a show, make one. You know, bring people into your life, bring people into your space, into your home, into your apartment, into your phone, into your whatever container you choose, and talk. And then share that conversation with someone else, share that conversation with the people who watch you, the people who watch your story, the people who watch your TikTok, the companies that you're trying to get paid for by a brand deal, the teacher, you know, that you're struggling to communicate with. Start talking to them about things that they like, and then talk about things that you like. And this is how we create bonds that are mental, which is Aquarius energy, Libra energy, Gemini energy. Also, so yeah, type in the chat how you start conversations. I see a lot of you are expressing where you have air in your chart. Follow that up with, how do you start conversations? What's something that you say to people when you first meet them? What's a cool question that you like to ask, or something, a topic that you like to go into right away when you meet someone? I think that'd be very cool to share some of that. I also ask for people's sign. Yeah, definitely. Where has your heart been? That's deep. Sheesh. Okay. You ask about culture. That's amazing. You always compliment to start a convo. I feel that. That's great. Yeah, several questions about their work, hobbies, what they love. That's amazing. Cool. What excites you? I love that question. That's cool. So that's how we use air sign energy. I really love some of those things that you said. And also, if you see something in here, go ahead and, you know, take it. You know, nothing's really exclusive to anybody until, you know, there's a patent on it, right? So if you see an idea that someone, or, you know, a sentence that someone uses, go ahead and use that to create more conversations, because the more conversations you create, the better bonds, the better, you know, relationships, the better connections, the better friends, the better groups you will be attracting. If you say nothing and you don't talk, that's the problem, okay? Not talking, not communicating is the issue. I want everyone to type in the chat, not communicating is the issue. So I will communicate. That's going to be the solution for, I promise, 98% of you. Not communicating is the issue. So I will communicate. I will communicate. You got to follow up the affirmation with, I will communicate, because we identify the issue. On the flip side of the coin, we need to address it. A lot of people have these mental, you know, things going on, and they always create problems, right? For every problem you have, you must create a solution. Otherwise, you are trapping yourself into a mindset, okay? So if you've been nervous, scared, anxiety, overthinking, great. Now it's time to underthink. Now it's time to have courage. Now it's time to be brave, okay? It's the opposite end, okay? If you're stressed out, relax, babe. Relax. What relaxes you? I promise you it's not social media. I promise you it's not talking to the friend that always pulls from you, okay? It's going to be relaxing, stepping into your power, taking care of your skin. By the way, big tip for Aquarius season for these next 20 some days, take extra good care of your skin, because Aquarius rules the skin. It also rules the ankles. So if you can get a massage, if you can, you know, hydrate your skin, buy that special serum that you've been wanting forever, buy that special, you know, jojoba oil. I recommend golden jojoba oil. That shit slaps. The more you take care of your skin, the more you access that part of your chart, which is Aquarius. So water sign placements, where you at? Type it in the chat. Water sign placements in astrology, the way you use your water sign placements in astrology, or your 4th house, 8th house, 12th house, is to express yourself. So you see how I'm using my hands, I've colored my hair, my beard's, shaped in a specific way. I wear colors that associate with me. All of these things are expression. If you feel like, oh no, I'm an earth sign, I'm not very good at expressing my feelings, I'm here to tell you, you express yourself in a different way. You can still use your clothes, you can still use your hands, your voice, your tone. The way you do things is how you express yourself. So being sensitive is a bad thing only if you don't know why. So what we'd want to do here is really focusing on, okay, where's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces in my chart, or what's in my 4th house, 8th house, 12th house. This is going to help you understand how to share your feelings, share your thoughts, and express them out loud. Water sign placements are often, especially in the moon, Cancer moon, Scorpio moon, Pisces moon are amazing artists. Cancer sun, Pisces sun, Scorpio sun, amazing people, amazing artists, amazing expressive people. If you find yourself having, you don't trust your intuition, it's because you're not expressing yourself. So when you feel something, you're not identifying it publicly. So internally, you're gaslighting yourself into saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't be showing this feeling. I shouldn't be showing this thing. And that's exactly the issue. So go ahead and type in the chat. If I'm not expressing myself, that's the problem. Okay. So I will express myself. That's the solution. Okay. If you're struggling to express yourself, that's the problem. So I will express myself. I recommend 98% of the time, if you can use humor, go for it. If you need to be dramatic, go for it. If you need to be, emo, do that. Be emo. Express your emotions like that. Okay. That's totally fine. People who resonate with you will, people who don't. The girls that get it, get it. The girls who don't, right? That's how we use the water sign placements in our chart. And this is exactly the same true if you have a Cancer Mars, okay? If you have a Cancer Mars or a North Node Pisces or midheaven in Scorpio, you need to express yourself. That's the answer. So please, no one asked that question because I just answered it, okay? How do you work with that energy? How do you use it for business, for love? Express yourself. If you like someone, express it. How? Get them flowers, write them a letter, tell them, just like express yourself. If it doesn't work, great. Now you know to not do that specific way again. Don't quit. Just do it a slightly different way. You wrote someone a 10-page love letter and they didn't hit you back. Let's try a 1-page love letter. Okay. Let's try I really vibe with you text. We can scale back or scale up to make sure that we're still expressing ourselves, but using new, different ways. I am an Aries rising, so I'm a huge advocate of make as many fucking mistakes as possible so that you can figure out your solutions. If you don't make any mistakes, that's what's stopping you from growing. That's what's stopping you from getting to the next level. That's what's stopping you from leaving your dark night of the soul, is you're not taking any risk. You're not taking any chances. So we need to take some to allow ourselves to really feel fulfilled and express ourselves. Okay. So how do y'all express yourself? Go ahead and type that in the chat. I want to hear some ideas of how you express yourself when you're moody, when you're sad, when you're going through it, when you're doing fine. What do you do to express yourself? Let's type that in the chat. Someone said music and dance, poetry, journaling. Perfect. Music. I'm not surprised. Clothes, 100%. You write letters. Perfect. Dancing is so good for fire placements and water placements. Someone said EFT tapping. I just learned about EFT tapping. I've done it, but I didn't know what it was. I just learned about that. That's super cool. You just cry it out. There you go, Erica. That's my girl. You laugh with friends. Hell yeah. You break down. When you have a mental breakdown, you use music and catharsis to write down everything. Perfect. So how do you, once you journal, by the way, if you're journaling, there's still another step. Okay. You still need to express yourself. All right, y'all. So when I journal something, I still make art with it. I'll still use it in a song. I'll still use it in a TikTok video. I'll still use it, when I'm talking to someone, I'll still express myself. So don't let it stop at the journal, because the journal isn't the full expression. The journal is the internal expression. Okay. So if you're still having reoccurring issues or problems still keep coming back, you're not addressing it. Okay. If you don't have a therapist, you know what I'm talking about. Because when you go to the therapist, y'all talk about what you're journaling, right? That's the expression. So we need to still communicate out loud, or at least outside of our body journal, what it is that we want. When I say express, I do mean a public release. So I see a lot of people on TikTok, especially, they'll make fun of themselves or an idea or something that they're going through, or they'll just like talk about it. That's what I mean by express, is outside of you, outside of your body, outside of your journal, outside of the privacy. It's uncomfortable. I'm not going to say it's comfortable. I'm going to say it's uncomfortable, but the more uncomfortable you are, the more you grow, which is Jupiter in astrology. Okay. Fire signs, where you at? Fire signs, sun, moon, rising, north node, where you at? Fire signs in astrology, the way that we use fire signs in astrology, Aries, Leo, Sag, first house, fifth house, ninth house, is encouraging and inspiring others. So if you have an Aries rising like me, my whole business is to inspire and encourage others. I know some of you who watch my content daily, you've seen I kind of do less educational content, at least on social media. I'm just going to encourage and inspire people who care to learn astrology to hop in these classes, because I want to give you the raw, potent version of astrology, not the textbook version, not the whitewashed version, not the colonized version, not the, the only astrology book you'll ever need version, because those are all seeds that have not really worked for people. And I've noticed that that's exactly what's keeping a lot of people stuck. They'll say, "Oh, I have Aries placements, so I can't stay on one topic for very long." That's not true. If you're encouraging, inspiring people, and you have a goal or you have an objective, and you're trying to make sure that people laugh, cry, smile, feel something, or be motivated by you, you can do a lot of great things. Okay. So I just want to remind you of that so that you are aware. Fire signs, the way we use these placements is to encourage others. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like out of luck, what I'll do with my friends, as an example, is I'll call one of my friends, we'll kind of talk about things that are going on. If they are complaining too much, or, bringing too much negativity into our conversation, I'll just encourage them to do the opposite of whatever they've been doing. Like, "Oh, this person that you've been talking to and seeing is being flaky. Okay, cool. Well, like, go date someone else, or like stop talking to them. Like, do something else." I'll encourage them and inspire them to do the thing that they are not doing yet, because that's the solution, right? On the opposite side of the coin, if something's not working on one side of the coin, do the opposite, right? Very simple. It's a mindset thing though. Okay, so you have to, if something's not working, stop. Please don't bog yourself down with why isn't it working. Stop doing it, change it a little bit, and then do it again. Make another mistake in a different way. Don't make the same mistake with people and then blame the people, because it's not their fault, it's yours. Einstein, he's a Sag moon, Pisces sun, just like me. He said, if you do the same thing over and over, hoping for different results, you're insane. Straight up. Would anyone agree with that? If you keep doing the exact same thing with the exact same person, places, thoughts, ideas, you're insane. And that's okay. I'm here to remind you that that's okay. We don't have to be insane publicly, though. Okay, reel that shit back, right? Let's try something new. Okay, so that's how I would channel the energy, is if you get stuck in a karmic loop, because that's really what that is, you need to stop doing that thing with that person, place, thing, or idea. I'm going to show you some ways on how to do that right when we tap into Earth, right when we're done with Earth signs, okay? So Earth signs, where you at? How you feeling? I know air sign seasons are kind of weird for you because Earth signs are better at planning and executing rather than starting conversations every time. But wherever you have Earth in your chart, 10th house, second house, sixth house. So again, if you have a planet in your 10th house, the 10th house is an Earth sign house. It does not need to be Capricorn. Your 10th house could even be Cancer, and you have a Capricorn 10th, or excuse me, you have a 10th house Cancer. You still need to plan your life, okay? I see a lot of baby witches on TikTok. They're like, I guess it's the Sagittarius Pluto people in general. They're very like adamant on, oh, yeah, if I think it, it's going to just happen for me. And I want to agree so bad. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, if you just simply made a plan and you allowed yourself to like do that, you would get what you want way faster than saying, oh, I'm just going to get it. And especially Sagittarius Pluto. I have Sagittarius North Node and Moon, so I get it on that level of, oh, anything I want, I can have it, because that's true. But also, if we don't plan, if we don't do the things in our plan, that's what's slowing down our manifestations by weeks, months, years, is because we're not making steps. So if you want a new car, you want a better job, you want to, start making content, you want to have the love of your life, you can write that all day, babe. But you have to if you want a better lover, you can't just date people at the bar and expect to have a wife or a husband, right? If you want a wife or a husband that cares about people, you might be better off meeting them at the Humane Society, donating their time to animals, not at the bar, not at the club. You got to think about what kind of person this is based on where you meet them. So when you're dating people, when you're meeting people, when you're, making plans for your life, who are you going to meet? What kind of people do you want to be with? What kind of energy do you want to exchange? Okay. This is going to be what you plan. The biggest thing that I see a lot of people that I read for, that I come into alignment with in my readings, which I'm going to be putting on sale, by the way, at the end of this class, back to the sale price that I had a month ago. You just need to pick something that you want. So if you're making $1,000 a month from your job and you want $2,000 a month, do you need to work double hours, or do you need to start reading tarot, and going live and posting on that to make that extra 1,000 from Etsy? Or if you want a better partner, like I said before, do you want to keep meeting people at the bar where you've met 3 people that you got really hurt by? Or do you want to try meeting someone at the library, and finally answering the person who's been hitting you up? Think about it, right? All these options. So wherever you have Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo in your chart, that's where you're going to want to plan. So first, you just got to come up with, what do you want? Do you want a car? Do you want more money? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to live an ethical life? Do you want to help people? Cool. If you want to help people, you got to say how. And this is something that I did for the longest time incorrectly when I was, trying to manifest being a content creator, is I knew I wanted to help people grow, but I didn't know how. Finally, I chose social media, but then I didn't choose which social media. Finally, I got on TikTok, and then I started educating people on TikTok. And then my manifestation came through because I came through on what I wanted to do and how that looked. That took 6 years, longer than it should have. Don't do that to yourself. I'm here to tell you, just pick the way you want it. If it doesn't work, make tiny little changes to your plans and it'll work. Okay. Especially those of you who are readers or business owners. If you want to make more money, you need to make more videos. You need to make better videos. If what you're doing is not working or bringing you hundreds of followers a day, it's because you're not making that slight change of, for example, following the trends. It's because you're not telling people your prices, which if you tell people your prices, they are way more likely to get what you're whatever you're giving them, because there's transparency, there's trust. If you don't tell people you do readings, if you don't tell people you have a business or that you can help them, it's so hard for them to trust you. So when you write out your plans about how you want to do things, everyone, make sure that you write out the steps of how do you tell people, because it's very hard to get anything done without people in on Earth, right? So the more you talk using your air sign placements and express yourself using your water sign placements and encourage and inspire people with your fire sign placements, the more your plans will be successful. Go ahead and type 1, 2, 3, 4 if you understand what I just taught you, because I feel like it's very valuable and it helps solve a lot of problems very quickly. I'm a very emotional person. I want to communicate that. I'm super sensitive. At the same time, my logical side of my brain, I understand. I've had to nurture it, and creating these like processes with astrology has really helped me not only understand myself, but other people. I have massive social anxiety. When I go somewhere, I instantly feel very adamant about what's going on with me. I don't know if any of you know your human design, but I'm a manifester 3-5. So I naturally, without trying to, I energetically push people away, because the way I do things and the way other people do things is very like catastrophically different. So even the way I teach astrology is catastrophically different from other astrologers. I've had other astrologers, look at my content and be upset because I don't teach it in a traditional way. But I also understand that there are millions and millions of people who still don't understand astrology. So I'm going to teach it in this way because I feel like it'll help people. So I hope that that's of value to you. You can look up the Jovian archive on Google to find your human design. I will not be covering that today because that's a very deep spiritual topic that we can, if y'all want me to make content on it, just like shoot me a DM or something, I'll add it to the list of things. But yeah, go ahead and screenshot this screen. If you wrote it out, cool. I'm going to be going to the next slide now. I'm going to give you a couple seconds before I go to the next slide, and then we'll be kind of wrapping up with the presentation side, and I'll be going more into the astrology in a second here. Cool. So just to recap again, everybody, this is how we simplify astrology, because once we get this, then once we get the base of astrology, then we can start going into, okay, why is Scorpio so possessive? Why is Taurus so focused on family and food and resources? Why is Capricorn so diligent on being recognized for their success in their work? Why is Pisces, why do they dissociate in alignment with create spiritual avenues for people to find themselves at the detriment of themselves? Sometimes it's because we need to understand what the element is and what the modality is. The element of the zodiac sign is more important sometimes than the actual planet. Okay. So if you have, a north node in a planet, or excuse me, if you have a north node in a house and you notice that it's a water house, it means that your north node, the way you use it is your intuition, your creativity, and emoting, which is expressing yourself. And you can use all three or just one. Don't complicate it. I know someone's going to ask me later, and I hope you're hearing me now. How do I use my north node? How do I use my Chiron? How do I use my midheaven? What should I be doing for a career? If you have water in your 10th house, second house, sixth house, you need to use your intuition. Why is it so broad? It's because your intuition is specific to you. So whether me personally, I use clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, and telekinesis because I'm a Pisces 12th house. So I naturally have all of these abilities. I tap into them by using candles, by using water, by grounding myself with plants, by sharing my ideas and communicating with my ancestors, doing mirror work. these are all ways that we can tap into our intuition. Okay. Creativity, me personally, I just started doing music as a way, but even if you curate playlist, or if you support other people's music, or you're a producer, or you just anything that has to do with creativity, you love to make fashion, you love to do this and that. That's how you'd use water in your chart. And everyone has, how many zodiacs are in your chart? Because everyone has access to this. I've seen so many people tell me, oh, I have too many earth sign placements, I'm not that creative. False. If you plan and hit your goals, you are creative. Okay. So just being sure that you sit in that vibration, I feel like it's going to bring you a lot of success and happiness long term. 1 second, I'm just going to quick send someone the link before we keep going. So if anyone has any questions, type them in the chat, please. We're almost done with this part here. Okay. Where's Leo in your chart? If you don't have any planets, it'll be right in between Cancer and Virgo. And everyone has it in their chart, so that sentence doesn't make sense. Actually, no, I'm capping. That sentence was perfect. My bad. I misread that. Okay, cool. So I only saw like 5 people say that there's 12 zodiacs in the chart. If we could have more people say how many zodiacs are in your chart, I just want to be clear. Everyone has all how many in their chart, just because yeah, we just need to be clear. Lit. So this is the last part of the presentation here, but whenever we use our fire sign placements in our chart, again, we want to inspire, encourage, and use enthusiasm. If you're depressed and you find yourself, having a lot of alone time, you're isolating, it's time to watch a motivational movie, video, listen to a song that empowers you, makes you feel better, makes you feel strong. Work out, exercise, sweat. Every day you should be sweating. I know some of you hate to hear that. I know some of you are very comfortable with where you're at. I don't really care. I'm more focused on your psychology. And if you're not sweating every day, but you're eating every day, your system is not being regulated, especially if you have very strong Cancer or Virgo placements. The gut health is also just as important as your mental health, right? So if you're not sweating or eating things both every day that allow you to, exercise, work out, at least stretch something with your body's the only thing you own, right? It's the only thing that you actually own on Earth. So we should take care of it. We should take care of it because it's yours. I'm not trying to shame anybody. I just want to encourage you and inspire you to really consider, are you stressed because you're laying down in bed all day? Or are you stressed because you're overworking and you're not getting a physical release like anyone would need? Or are you simply just avoiding what it is that you could be doing with your body because you're too in your head? Which if you sweat once a day, you'd be out of your head because you wouldn't be thinking about what you're thinking about because you're sweating. So just consider it. I know a lot of my depression early on when I was obese, especially for majority of my life, came down to I was just laying in bed all day, playing video games, eating stuff that I wasn't supposed to eat. And it affected my relationships, my confidence, the things that, really are important. So as an Aries rising Sag moon, once I learned that, that's when I started taking steps to, going vegan, pescatarian, changing my diet. Aries loves to just work out. Sag loves to work out. Leo loves to work out. Everyone loves to work out. but how you work out is really up to you. But as long as you're sweating in some way, shape, or form, even if you're doing exercise, cool, just sweat. That's all I'm really encouraging you to do. Is it's going to help you out. All right. Earth signs, the way you work with your energy is to manifest. Manifesting meaning writing things down. If you're manifesting in your head only and it's not working, that's the problem. If you want better relationships and you just keep thinking about your ex, that's the problem. You're thinking instead of making plans. Okay. If you want a better career, if you're lost in your life right now, it's because you're not manifesting something practical. I'm not asking you to not chase your dreams. I'm asking you, if you want to be the first millionaire in your family, what are you going to give people to become a millionaire? Because you can't just work a job and go to work every day knowing that you're going to be the first millionaire in your family. There needs to be something to connect the dots logically. So what is that thing? Most people just need to figure out, oh, I need to give people information, services, ideas, thoughts, consulting. Every time you try to figure that out, you're going to get a little bit closer to figuring out what your purpose is, which you'll also see in your North Node, but we're not going to go into that in depth today. I really just want to give you these tools to use Aquarius season, right? So if you have air in your chart, which everyone does, right? You're going to want to share ideas, listen, and then share thoughts, and then listen. I didn't type that listen in there a second time, but a lot of you struggle with listening. A lot of you struggle to hear and to listen, and it's selfish behavior. I just want to address it really quickly because as a Pisces Mercury, I see a lot of people, they want things, but they're not willing to give anyone anything. And that's causing karmic patterns and loops where if you're not helping people, why should people help you? Right. And this is something that I had to learn in the reverse. Because when I first started doing readings, astrology, tarot, all of that, I would listen to people's problems. And then because they weren't in the beginning paying me, they would just keep telling me the same problems over and over and over. And I realized some people like to stay stuck, and that has nothing to do with me. So when I started charging my friends for readings because I had already heard this conversation 30 times, I had to set a boundary with money because that's what I chose. I could have just set an emotional boundary or a verbal boundary, but I told my friends, hey, if we're gonna talk about this, once a week, just pay me so I can go buy myself some food to eat by myself, because eating with you is not possible anymore, right? So having some really good boundaries with your air signs, especially when you listen to people, try to figure out how can you help them. That's going to be one of the biggest keys. I think Aquarius season is going to highlight is how can you help people with your ideas, with your thoughts. If you're struggling to figure out your why you need to express yourself, why you need to talk, why you need to help people on that level, listen. If you don't know what, your greatest skills are, what does your mom, what does your dad, what does your brother, what does your teacher, what do your friends ask you for? That's what you're good at. Okay. You can monetize anything. There's people online who eat, 50 donuts and they get paid thousands of dollars just to eat food on camera. So what's your thing? What can you do for people? All right. If you have a lot of cardinal signs in your chart, fixed signs in your chart, mutable signs in your chart, you need to start to lead. You need to begin things. You need to leave things. If you have prominent Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn in your chart, you are someone who needs to start things. How do you start? Plan, talk about it, inspire yourself and others, use your creativity, express yourself, follow your intuition. You wake up and you get an idea for a video or, poetry or, a conversation you need to have with someone, do it, start it. If it finishes itself, good. If it doesn't go anywhere, at least you started, and then you can start to create that habit of starting things. I have tons of Aries placements myself and Capricorn placements. So luckily the Capricorn likes to finish. but my Aries likes to start. So I'm just really grateful that I have those two in my chart, but also so does everyone else. Everyone just shows up differently, okay? So if you need to start something, do it. If it doesn't work, perfect. Now you know not to do it that way. You post one time on TikTok, it doesn't go viral, and you start pouting. Well, stop being a sorry little sucker and post another video, okay? Different video, different place, different topic. If you're sitting in the same spot expecting different results, what is it called? What did Einstein call it when you're doing the exact same thing, expecting different results? Someone type in the chat for me. What is it called when you keep doing the exact same thing? Okay. I see a lot of people, they try to grow on Instagram only. Instagram's a terrible app to grow on. It's a terrible app for business right now, unless you have an e-commerce store. E-commerce means you're selling things online. So if you're selling things online, Instagram's a great place to sell things, products. If you're someone who just needs a platform to speak, to build a community, to help people to, grow yourself as a person, TikTok, Twitter, Discord, Twitch, all these places where you can use your voice and communicate with people and start a new version of what you were doing from the past. Now, some of you have consistency issues, which honestly, no big deal. The only thing you need to do is make a plan and follow through with it. If a piece of your plan involves you talking to someone and calling them and saying, hey, I need your help, or, for me, what it was is I used to really struggle with follow through. I had already had a astrology mentor. So I got another one. His name's the Sagittarian Mind. He coached me for several days on astrocartography, reading transits, predicting with astrology. We looked at my chart. Basically, like this year, I'm not going to tell you what he told me, but this year is one of the most explosive years for me because of stuff that I did last year. So what I personally do is if I struggle to follow through or be consistent, I will pay someone to do it for me, or I'll pay someone to teach me, or I'll pay someone to help me. And if it costs more money than what I have, I've definitely gone into debt to learn something because I already went to college. I already did it there. That shit's not working. So I'd rather trust someone who's helped thousands of people get results because that person has no alternative agenda to get me into debt, right? So I've paid people hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to coach me, to educate me, to guide me into the things that, help me and my business, which ultimately my business is to help other people. So getting yourself in that position happens by being consistent. If you're not a consistent person, find a friend that is really good at keeping their word and stay next to them. Learn from them. Pay someone. If your parents are really inconsistent, which one of your other family members are consistent? Stay next to them. Get close to them because you will energetically pick up that energy. Okay. And in return, what you should do for them is help them with their things so that y'all are exchanging and you're not just being an energy vampire. All right. And I'm not calling any of you energy vampires, but everyone has the capabilities of doing that. So how do we get more flexible? For those of you who are fucking hard-headed and stubborn, how do you get flexible, changeable, and adaptable? Find someone who sucks at being consistent, someone who lives life on the edge, someone who drives a little too fast. You want to stay around people who take risk too, because if you don't have people in your life that take risk, that's going to make it so that you might find it a little bit more challenging or afraid. All right. I remember the first time that I wanted to get into Bitcoin, I didn't really know anything about it, but this person that lived down the hall from me was a Sagittarius, and this dude was throwing hundreds and thousands of dollars into Bitcoin 4 or 5 years ago. Now he's sitting on, hundreds of millions of dollars. All right. Thankfully, I took some of his advice and put, what I had at the time in, which was $20, $30, $40, $50. And it really helped me out, for a while, especially while I was homeless. I was able to rely on that for a little bit, not to get a whole house, but, to eat and do regular things while sleeping in the office, reading books about astrology. So finding people who are flexible, changeable, adaptable, or becoming that is going to really benefit you even in Aquarius season, because if you're doing stuff that is not bringing you results, what is it called? Okay. If you keep sitting in the same spot, doing the same type of things, watching the same type of shows, I honestly, personally, I don't even watch TV or Netflix because I'd rather be helping people. It's not that I don't enjoy the alone time, but it's not really alone time if I'm pouring my energy into a show, if I'm pouring my energy into something that's not really like bringing abundance. I don't find it very relaxing personally, but that's just me. So that's the presentation. That's everything I have for you on at least the presentation end. Next, we're really just going to dive into the Aquarius new moon. So new moons in astrology represent a new beginning. Full moons in astrology represent a closing cycle. So when we're using new moon energy, it's a good time to ask for things that are new. Because it's Mercury retrograde though, you want to focus on things that you've already been chipping at. So if you have a failed music career, a failed art thing, a failed business, a failed friendship, a failed relationship, Mercury retrograde is here to redo that. Retrograde means we're not done with it. Whenever we have jeans that are retro, fits that are vintage, things like that, it means society's not done with it. So if you don't have exes coming back, it means you're done with it, babe. Yourself on the back, okay? If your exes keep coming back, you haven't set the boundaries up. You haven't learned the lesson. Don't be proud that they're hitting you up. You should actually be a little bit disappointed in yourself because there's something that you haven't finished with this person. And if it was good, you would have known it already. All right. So most of the time when we are connecting with people that we, struggled with, and we try to work things out again, it's not to say it's a good or a bad thing, but if you haven't learned the lesson, that's the part that you should be a little disappointed in. Okay. And that's the part where I'm going to talk about here, how we can kind of remedy that. So we do have, 17 minutes left. So really pay attention to this last part because this applies to everyone, no matter where you have Aquarius in your chart, okay? There's something called a cazimi, Cazimi. Every new moon, every single month, 12 cazimis happen on new moons. The cazimi shows up when the sun and the moon are exactly at the same degree in astrology. So what does that mean? What do degrees mean? Degrees in astrology show you how old a planet is inside of a zodiac. So everyone has 12 zodiacs. And for example, the moon here is currently at 8 degrees inside of the zodiac sign Aquarius. 8 degrees is not that far along, but there are 29 degrees. It's 0 through 29 in every single house. So the moon just got into Aquarius last night around where I am in Cali. It happened around 11, 12. So now it's 4 degrees away from the sun, which means it's about, 4 to 6 hours away. So what we're going to do today is something called, we're going to manifest by planning using the cazimi because we know it's coming. So whenever the moon and the sun cross each other at this time, it's a special time because the moon represents our intuition, our divine feminine, as well as how we use our intuition. The sun represents our soul. Our soul is what needs to be expressed at the highest level. So it also has to do with our expression and who we are fundamentally. Okay. So when our intuition body, our moon, our mom, and our soul, our expression, our sun cross each other, it's basically the universe saying, you know, it's basically the universe saying mom and dad are giving you permission to do whatever you want today for the rest of the month. Wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, which go ahead and type that in the chat. What house in Aquarius do you have, or where do you have Aquarius in your chart? This is a big deal because the sun and the moon will be crossing each other at 12 degrees. 12 degrees in astrology is a Pisces degree. All that means is this is the best time to connect with your soul tribe. What does that look like for you? Do you want an online soul tribe, a physical soul tribe, a combination of the two? Do you want your soul tribe to be the friends that you already have or friends that you haven't met yet? Also, because it'll be at 12 degrees, remember, what does Aquarius mean? Because it's an air sign. Okay. Aquarius, what does it mean for air signs? Because that's what the Kazemi means. So Kazemi in astrology also represents and means good luck, or, you know, an opportunity for luck. So because Aquarius is an air sign that shares and communicates ideas, today and this whole month and these next 6 months until we come into the full moon 6 months from now, these are going to be the best times for you to share your ideas and communicate with people. Fuck your fear, fuck your anxiety, fuck your PTSD. Because why? If you take the time to express yourself, it will be difficult, it will be challenging, but I promise you the reward is you learning how to talk. The reward is you connecting with the exactly right people who get you. But if you don't talk like you've been doing, that's the issue, right? That's the problem. So how do we fix it? We got to do the opposite, okay? We can't keep driving down the one way and hoping to get on the highway, right? It doesn't work. So this is the time to use something that I invented last year called a Law of Attraction Action Plan. Because I went to school for business, for those of you who understand what this is, it's a business plan combined with the Law of Attraction. There's another version of this called the Law of Assumption, which means that you already believe that it's done. I personally like that version, but I'm going to show you an example of Law of Attraction Action Plan here today. So, for example, and by the way, A lines up with 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A. So when we're making this Law of Attraction Action Plan, the first thing you want to write down is, what do you want? For this example that I created for somebody, you know, want to travel to 30 cities in the next 10 months. That's very fucking ambitious. That's a lot of places, right? What do you need to do that? Every 3 weeks, you need to have travel plans made and ready. That's it. That's the step. A lot of people skip step 2 when they want something. They completely just skip step 2. And that's typically the issue. So make a step 2. What do you need to do? Also, you got to be accountable, right? Who's in charge? You? Cool. The airplane company, right? And then the booking sites being used. So when you go to, like, you know, say, oh, I haven't done this yet, whose fault is it? If we were to look at this plan right now and say, okay, for some reason A didn't get done, who can we say was responsible? All we got to do is look here. Type it in the chat. Who's responsible for A not being done? I've even highlighted it for you. Perfect. So this is what we call radical acceptance, radical accountability. So if something's not going well in your life, it's not your ex's fault. It's not your parents' fault. You're not following your dreams because your job, you're working your job, which is preventing you from following your dreams. It's not your job's fault, it's yours, because you're not planning. If you plan to leave your job, you'll leave your job. If you don't plan to leave your job, then you're still in your head. You know, you got to set a date, you got to set a time. You got to also think about, okay, how much money do I need monthly to be able to pay for the things that I care about, the things that I want, the things that I desire. Okay. If you don't do that, that's typically the issue. You got to get your priorities together on paper. Some of you love to type this on your phone. That's fine. I will say it's best if you write it down with a pen in a document, on a journal, on a piece of paper. You can even burn this piece of paper. You can even frame this piece of paper. You can put it on your desk if you want to. You can put it on your fridge. You can put it on Post-it notes across your house. I just need you to know what the fuck you're doing, which only you can decide. Your chart does not tell you what to do. You do. Your chart is there to support you in certain areas of your life. Which areas? All of them. You can ask any question about astrology and find an answer. But at the end of the day, my people, you have to pick. Do you want to be this person? Do you want to be that person? Do you want to be known for this? Or do you want to never be seen and just get rich? Okay, great. How? We need to make steps because you are the author of your story. Dumbledore, God, Krishna, none of these entities, Jesus, no one's going to come and do it for you. Your parents aren't going to do it for you. Your professor's not going to do it for you. You have to pick who you want to become, how you want to be yourself. If you're still lost, even after I said that, who do you watch now? Who are you in love with that is a celebrity? Who do you obsess over on YouTube? What's your favorite TikTok content creator? Those people, the only reason why you're attracted to them, even including me, is because they are doing something that you can do. You just need to make a plan. And you don't need to do that either because I'm giving you the plan. All right. So if you want to make a certain amount of money, one way that you could make a lot of money is by teaching people and helping others by the hour with whatever you went to school for, whatever you're passionate about, whatever topics that you care most deeply about. These are the topics that you should be bringing up in your content, in your conversations, when you're meeting these new soul tribe group members for yourself. Okay. These are the things that you should be bringing up, are the things that are already in your head, not brand new things. I don't want you to make shit up and be fake. I need you to be authentic. And that's how we really embody the Aquarius energy, is by being unique and authentic, because Saturn and Uranus in astrology represent the individual and what an individual must do to have boundaries and restrictions to create freedom. So I'll say that again. Saturn and Uranus in astrology, they look like this, by the way. Saturn looks like this. Has a cross on top with a tail. By the way, anytime you see a cross here on a planet, it means it's a very, on a glyph or a symbol in astrology, it means that it's like a consistent topic. So for Saturn, wherever your Saturn is, especially when you go through your Saturn return, which happens between 27 and 31. I'm in mine right now. If anyone else is, just type in the chat, say, hey. When you have your Saturn energy, it's about you learning boundaries and restrictions so that you can become free. So for example, I only do readings on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays sometimes for love readings. But because of that, it gives me time to travel Sunday through Tuesday, right? So because I have very strict boundaries where I read for 12 hours, I read for 12 hours typically on Wednesdays, Thursdays, but doing 24 hours worth of readings in 2 days allows me to travel. So having strict rules with yourself gives you freedom. That's just one example that I have for myself. And it's something that I just started doing. Before that, I used to make like 8 TikTok videos a day, and that would help me make, you know, have a lot of people to talk to about astrology and build up my other platforms where I can educate more people and help more people. Wherever you have Uranus in your chart, write this down. If you didn't write down Saturn, Saturn again is the way that you create boundaries and restriction for yourself brings you freedom. So another example is if you eat super healthy all week and you give yourself a cheat day to eat whatever, that's another way to use your Saturn, okay? If you're going through your Saturn return and you work your ass off, you won't have a bad Saturn return. People who have bad Saturn returns typically just complain about their Saturn return instead of doing anything that would help them. So don't be that person, because no one cares about what you can't do. We want to see what you can do. That's all people care about at the end of the day, from what I've noticed. I could be wrong though. Uranus in astrology has to do with our individuality when it's expressed through technology, innovation, as well as what's unique, what's trending. A lot of people, they hop on TikTok, they hop into the world, they hop into a business. If your business, if your video ideas or whatever you're doing with yourself isn't trending, you're missing out on people. Why would you start a business? Why would you start a TikTok? Why would you start a brand that is not focused on helping people? And if you're someone who makes content, stop making content that other people aren't making. If you see an influencer or someone else, you know, in your industry or that does something that you do the cha-cha slide with everybody. If everyone's doing the cha-cha slide, why are you dugging over on the right side? If everyone's doing the cha-cha slide, you know, or, you know, the electric slide in the room, which being the world being the room, why are you doing the waltz? Okay. If everyone's doing a trend, if everyone's talking about a certain topic, talk about that topic, because you need to be able to read the room. You need to be able to read the platform. You need to be able to read Earth. If everyone's talking about COVID, talk about COVID. If you're really that lost for content, talk about COVID. It's happening to everyone. It's not that you don't know what to talk about. It's that you're not reading the room. So read the room, pay attention to what's going on. And this is how you will use your Aquarius energy best. Now is the perfect time to start asking questions. It's 4:30, presentation is done. We're perfectly on time, which is dope because I'm a Pisces and I'm like ever on time. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have questions. Pretty sure I did cover everything that we had on the agenda today, which I'm so proud. But yeah, who has questions? Who has things they want to talk about real quick? We're in the Q&A section now. Cool. And I'll just ask you to unmute when you raise your hand. So I don't know how to say it now. I'm going to try my best though. Mayenda, Gail, what's popping? Cool. I'm going to take some of these questions in the chat real quick. How do you find your placements without knowing your birth time? I do have this video on YouTube called Rectifying Your Birth Chart. I actually learned the process from this man here. His name's Chris Brennan. I made it, he has a 3-hour video. If you can't tell, I'm not going to do a 3-hour video on that. I just made a 50-minute video, how to find your birth time. I'm going to put it in the chat for you here. So if you don't know your birth time, there is a way, there's a process. You do have to pull up multiple charts. It takes about an hour. If you really don't know what you're doing, it could take you up to 4 hours, facts. So if you need help with that, or if you know someone that needs help with that, go watch this video on YouTube. Also, the other option is, book an astrologer that understands how to do it. I know how to do it. Not too many people want to do it, but there are some people that know how to do it. So if you need help with that, that's what I would recommend. Next question is, do you think the law of detachment correlates with the law of attraction? Law of detachment, I feel as though it's important to have a plan. So even if you do have a plan, releasing that plan is, not having these crazy expectations of your plan. So if you want, when I first started manifesting my $10,000 a month from my business, I was very obsessed with that. And it actually created a lot of tension between me and my audience because I was so hyper-focused on getting money that I wasn't providing any value. And that was the problem. So I do believe law of detachment is a huge piece, which is why law of assumption can sometimes be better for this specific topic here. And I feel like it would offer a lot of people more value because when you assume your desires and you assume the steps, what happens is you put yourself in a position to already be in the mindset inside of the idea that you've done it. Sometimes when you say, I want, I need, I have to, you're creating distance. You're saying that you aren't there yet. And that can sometimes be exactly the thing that's preventing you. So what I like to do is gaslight myself into success, gaslight myself into my dreams. Oh, I'm someone who travels the world and makes content. Okay, cool. I'm going to gaslight myself into believing that so that when it happens, that Pisces delusion that no one else saw, well, now I'm doing it, right? So how do you set yourself up for that? Is by being clear on what you want. Again, your chart cannot tell you what you want. You have to tell you what you want. Some of my favorite astro books, I'm going to show you a quick list. Then I'll take a live question here. So this is my books and resources list here. If you're into indigenous spirituality, astrology did not originate in Babylon. That doesn't even make sense because the stars were around before cities were. We've been using planets and astrology before there was like 4 people on Earth. So it was actually originally called cosmology, which is the study of the cosmos, which has to do with Sirius A, B, and then our sun. Basically, the way our solar system's kind of shaped is the sun's kind of in the middle and Sirius A and Sirius B are kind of spiraling. Kind of looks like DNA, which is crazy because DNA and the universe and everything interconnected. Wow, spiritual awakening. The point is, when we look at the universe, before astrology was created, there was actually 266 signs in cosmology. Each of those signs represents a different thing on Earth. So each of those things actually falls in the chart. So for example, Mercury, the planet in astrology, rules over Mercury, which is in water, which is in fish. The moon represents water also. So there's tons of overlaps now because as more people came to Earth, we had to kind of, revamp that so that more people could either understand or not understand. So those are my books that I have for you. And then I'm going to grab a question here. So I'm going to lower the hand. Dominica, what's your question?
Okay. Thanks, Sonny. And my name's Dominiqua, but I get it.
Thank you.
If you have a moon in Aquarius, and I'll just go ahead and say it's the second house, what does that mean for it? The new moon being in Aquarius, do you still manifest the same way, or is it different? And thank you.
Yeah, of course. So Dominic, biggest thing is you have to pick what you want. That's where you start. The chart doesn't do that for you. Gotta pick what you want first. How do you figure that out? What are you struggling in, or what is challenging you right now? Ask yourself that question. And then you want to make a list of, okay, what can I do to remedy that? Or if you just want something outright, then you start to make that list, right? When we look at second house moon, and the moon being over your moon and the sun being inside of your, I'll show you. Actually, let me just show you. So what date were you born?
February 23rd, 1971.
Time?
1:31 a.m.
Location?
Chicago.
Chicago, Illinois. I was just there on Friday.
I bet it was cold.
It's cold as fuck. It was cold as fuck. I loved it. I had a lot of tequila. Point is, second house. So actually, are you looking at Placidus?
It's like, I don't know the difference between all of them. It's just the typical one that pops up.
I got you. So the typical one, by the way, is Placidus. Almost all chart reading apps, systems use Placidus. If it's not Placidus, don't worry about it. Placidus shows you the constellations, the size that they are in the sky. So, for example, Aries constellation is a lot bigger than, Sagittarius as a constellation is a lot bigger than Taurus. So that's why these houses are sized differently, is because the spaces in the universe are different sizes, right? When you use whole sign, it just cuts it up into nice, even pecan pie. I love pecan pie. Does anyone else? Type it in the chat. Pecan pie sized, evenly sliced sections. So to answer your question, how do you manifest using moon second house in Aquarius? So second house in astrology is a Taurus house, which means it's a money house. The money houses in astrology are the second house, the sixth house, the 10th house. If your chart is being read on a whole sign calculator, which is what I just told you about being cut up nice and equally, every single zodiac in those second, sixth, and 10th house will all be in the same element, which means that you'll be able to manifest them the same. But because we're using Placidus, Aquarius is here next to Capricorn in the second house, which is, again, the money house. If you need to know where money is in your chart, go to your second house. Please, no one asks me about the second house after this unless it has to do with Aquarius, because I just told you how to read all the zodiacs, okay? So Aquarius second house, you need to share and communicate your ideas and thoughts with people consistently, specifically around moon topics, because the moon represents intuition, your femininity, as well as how you connect with your own personal divine creativity. So the way that you make money with this new moon, because second house is money, new moon is in Aquarius. So this Kazemi, this special opportunity and time is going to be landing in your money house. What I would write down personally is 2022 is the year that I come into alignment with my money and my creative efforts, as well as my femininity. All the lessons that I've been struggling with were fixed in 2022 because I'm using law of assumption. I'm assuming that the things that I was struggling with monetarily got fixed. I'm assuming, I'm gaslighting myself into believing that it's true so that my body doesn't overthink. I'm gaslighting myself so that I automatically put myself in a state where those problems that I was having are gone, so that now I can move like that. And then naturally those things will go away because I will address them, because in my plan, I address them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sunny.
You're so welcome. Happy lunar return, by the way. I'm happy for you. Make sure you write down a dollar amount and some steps, right? Cool. Let's see who's next. Thank you for the question. That was a good question. All right, Maddie Whitfield, what's popping?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm amazing. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm happy you're here.
So I have one, I know you probably have a video on this, so you can tell me where it is and I'll look at it. Oh, you typing my stuff? Okay, go ahead. Maddie Whitfield. I was born, where am I born? December 9th, 1981 at 2:28 a.m. in Chicago.
Let's go.
Go.
Y'all got some dirty streets. That's the only thing I don't like about Chicago.
Okay, so my first question would be up chart, and you pull up your chart, it looks totally different. You have way more on yours than I have on mine.
That's okay.
What
These are just asteroids.
Asteroid. Okay.
Yeah. So by the way, I am an asteroid astrologer. So most astrologers read the 7 planets. I use asteroids because I'm on a twin flame journey. There's someone named Osho who said the only way you can really find your twin flame is pre-arranged marriage or using astrology. I just read that somewhere and I believed it. So that's why I study asteroids. But what's your question?
Okay, got it. So I was trying to find out in learning to read this. I watched one of your videos, but what kind of confuses me is you have like the house, and then you have the sign in the house, and then you have the planet. So in reading that, like if I took my North Node, which is Cancer in my North Node, which is in my 9th house.
Yeah.
How do I pay attention to all 3 of those, or like what am I? Because I hear people say, oh, Cancer is your North Node and focus on that. But what about the 9th house? Like, how do they all kind of incorporate each other?
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great question. So everyone, I want you to type in, I want you to write down the word delineate. So delineate in astrology, by the way, delineate, it's called delineating. So when you're reading astrology, what you're doing is you're describing or portraying something precisely. So that's what astrologers do, and that's what we're doing here today with this question. So anytime you're reading a zodiac sign, house, planet, part, degrees, the way I like to do it and approach it is I personally will start with, what's the question? What's the question? Because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll look at their chart and they'll say, okay, I have this here. What does it mean? That's not a logical way to look at it. I don't feel like it's helpful. So I'll give you the strategy that I use. is I'll ask myself, what is my purpose? And then I'll think to myself, okay, what in astrology handles purpose? And then I will look at North Node, because North Node shows you your life's purpose. Once we know where the North Node is, which for you it's in the 9th house, what does the 9th house have to do with? And what is the zodiac? So what I would do is North Node is purpose. Cancer means to lead with intuition or creativity. Right? So the purpose is to lead with intuition or creativity. 9th house represents travel, philosophy, knowledge, expansion of the mind. So what you'd be doing is lead with intuition to expand other people. The thing is, you're probably already doing this.
Yeah, that looks so familiar.
So
Yeah.
the thing is, when you're delineating, is you just need to break down piece by piece what each thing means and then make a sentence that makes sense. Don't overthink it. A lot of people, they're like, oh, there's so many pieces. No, there's really not. There's 3 pieces. What is the symbol or topic? Then you need to look at the zodiac sign. What does the zodiac sign do? Lead with intuition. What does the 9th house cover? Luckily, y'all, our greatest tool ever is here for us. So if you don't know what the houses mean, that's not an excuse. Okay, I'm not to say that anyone's excusing themselves or anything, but Google house meanings in astrology. What else does the 9th house mean? Because I missed a couple of things. So I'm going to check myself, right? Travel, wisdom, philosophy, higher education, law, religion, cross-cultural relations, foreign relationships, learning, and ethics. So all those topics would go in here too. Right? So when you're painting the picture of what does North Node in a house in a zodiac sign mean, this is how we would do it. And it's called delineating, which is to portray an idea or a thought, in a specific way, which I just showed you how to do. Yeah.
And then you said the 30-day, you do things in a 30-day cycle. Is that based upon like new moon to new moon or the actual calendar 30-day?
I do 30-day coaching, just a shameless plug, but also I do 30-day cycles and 30-day forecasts for my followers. I'll usually do them at the beginning of the month or something, and I'll just say, hey, this is the zodiac season. For example, Aquarius, this is the best time to start a social media platform. This is the best time to, because Aquarius is naturally the 11th house. So this whole Aquarius season, you should also be looking at your 11th house and seeing, and I talked about this, what friends, groups, social awareness, humanitarian, technology, hopes, wishes, and dreams or things of the future do you want to address? And then for Aquarius season, until we get into Pisces season, I just focus on what does Aquarius like to do? And then where is Aquarius in my chart? And then also, what does Aquarius rule naturally in astrology? I do all 3. It's a little bit of a process, but I promise you, if you take the, 30 minutes to an hour, your next 30 days can have a lot of, good things set up for yourself.
Okay.
Cool.
Got it. To make sure I stand back to you, what you're saying, you said you do the Aquarius season up into the Pisces season. So it's pretty much based upon that moon cycle.
The sun cycle.
Okay. sun cycle, sorry. The sun cycle. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're super welcome. What's up, BJ? What's poppin'?
Hello. So I already know we talked about second house stuff. So my question is really not about second house. It's kind of, so I have an Aquarius North Node. So I think my confusion was I know that North Node talks about purpose. And then when we're talking about manifesting in the Aquarius energy, I'm like, can that even coincide knowing that the second house is about money? Like it kind of sounded a little off to me. Like, I don't know if that's my own guilt thinking that I can't want to manifest financial things.
So your purpose is to get money.
That sounds so crazy to me. I don't know why it just sounds.
The reason why it sounds crazy is because that's your childhood trauma. That's that work that we need to look at. And what happens, Aquarius, remember, sharing ideas and thoughts. All you got to do is, if people want more access to you, because they're probably already asking you for tons of advice. People probably call you all the time for your
all
advice.
the time.
You need to stop.
Okay.
Do that for free. If your friends are the ones, if they're not taking you out to dinner, babe, they're using you, right? If people are asking for you to give stuff, but then they're not replenishing you, that is something you need to track. No hard feelings, but do you have the boundaries set up to tell people, oh yeah, for this amount of time that we're talking, you're gonna have to, I need you to run to the store. Can you cash at me? Can you Venmo me? Can you answer my questions? There needs to be an exchange. It's not being selfish, because if people are claiming to be, close ones to you, they need to fill your cup. And if they're not filling your cup, that's the problem. So I lost a lot of friends when I made this shift. I used to read for friends all the time. Now, when a friend hits me, I hit them with a booking link. Not because I don't fuck with you, but I'm doing all this for other people for a price. If you really rock with me, you gonna pay the price. When my friends have stuff, events, readings, they launch something, I pay whatever the price is, like a normal human being. I don't want a discount. I want you to be up. I want my friends to be up. So I'm going to pay. You need to set better boundaries with these people, because once we do that with them, then you can start to monetize what your knowledge is to help other people. And the reason why we attach money is not because of the money. It's because if you don't pay money, people will ask you the same fucking questions over and over. Like I was kind of talking about earlier. People who invest into an answer, they're more likely to listen because they're giving you something in exchange for something. So they're more likely to pay attention.
That makes so much sense. Like, hit the nail on the head. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
What's up, babe?
Hi, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
What's it called? Since we're kind of talking about the topic of Aquarius, I was thinking, what is this new moon in Aquarius highlighting for me? Because I have Venus in Aquarius, 12th house, and Uranus in Aquarius, although it also says Capricorn. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I'm definitely an Aquarius Venus. So I want to know what should I work on in terms of my relationships, because the Venus retrograde definitely affected me interestingly.
Yeah. So when we're delineating this, it goes back to the roots again. So we first have to look at, what does Aquarius mean? Everyone in the chat, type in, what does Aquarius mean as an air sign? That's the first most important topic. So Brianna, what does Aquarius mean? Because that's your answer, but we're going to go into more detail also. And the chat, you're doing great. Are you there, Brianna?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, I wrote I wrote push boundaries and be unique. That's Aquarius.
So let's check the chat too. We've got share
Yeah.
ideas, communicate. So Venus handles love, right? Balance and harmony. So if you have been struggling with that area, it's a lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
We need to just be more clear. You're a Pisces sun, so you know all too well, if you don't talk about it, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're using Venus, Venus also handles money. And do you have anything else in Aquarius? You said your Venus and what else?
My Uranus.
Yeah, so Uranus is how you are an individual. So the way you love as an individual person. So the way I would break this down is Aquarius. What house is it in?
It's in 12th house. And I also have my Neptune in Aquarius, but that's in 11th house.
Okay, we'll leave that one alone. So Aquarius means sharing ideas and thoughts. Venus is harmony, unconditional love, and peace. Uranus, uniqueness, individuality, and innovation. 12th house, hidden secrets, enemies, enlightenment. So the way that I would delineate this is you need to share ideas and thoughts about what unconditional love means to you and how that makes you unique as a person, because that's your biggest hidden secret. So all I did was I just plucked out one word from each sentence about each meaning to create a contextual piece of advice, right? So when we're delineating as future astrologers, just take each single piece and type it out and then just make a sentence. And you can make 17 sentences off of just what we've typed. You know, ideas around harmony and individuality are going to bring you enlightenment. So the more time Brianna spends alone, she's going to become more aware of why she does need to be alone. Also, what does peace mean for Brianna? It means sharing. Sharing peacefully allows Brianna to be an innovator, you know, especially for her enemies. If people don't like Brianna, she's going to innovate around them in a peaceful way. So these are all answers. All three of those answers I just gave you are all answers for your question. And how to use that energy, just follow the instructions of the delineation does.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like the delineating, how it breaks things down. It's really effective. Thank you for that, son. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Got you. Cool. So that's how we delineate. The more you practice astrology, everybody, you'll be able to do this in your head at some point. I'll be honest, it takes like a year or two, unless you like go really hard with the studying. But it took me like 5 years because I was fucking around in the first few years. I was just I didn't care to learn the zodiacs. So that's why I teach things with the elements now, because I noticed if you just focus on the 4 elements, you don't have to think so hard about the 12 zodiacs. You can just say, oh, is it air, fire, earth, or water? And then boom, you have an idea of, you know, what it has to do with. Okay, Sydney, what's popping?
Hey, I wanted to ask, do aspects in our charts affect our manifestations, especially like during this Aquarius moon?
100%. I usually just don't cover that because people sometimes are not there yet. So for example, let's see here. Why is Shane Co popping up? Who's trying to get married? The fuck? So I'm going to astro.com. I'm pulling up this asteroid called Amor, which Venus handles unconditional love. Amor in astrology represents conditional love. So it's something that you need to have to be able to love another person. My Amor, I know, is in Gemini, an air sign. So when we are looking at, for example, Aquarius, so for example, last night, Aquarius landed in my 11th house, which is the house of groups, friends, and all these things. I was at a party. I noticed that my Amor is in a trine, a triangle. Trines in astrology represent support. Squares in astrology represent challenges. Opposites in astrology represent opposing viewpoints. Parallels in astrology, an example of parallels is Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky's a Libra and Rihanna's a Pisces, and that those two zodiac signs are parallel. So it means they have harmony, but they operate differently. So that's why you'll see Aries and Virgos be in a relationship. That's why you'll see a Leo be in a relationship with a Capricorn, kind of like Obama or President Obama and Michelle, Capricorn with a Leo. So aspects definitely do play a major role, but we want to add that to the delineation, right? So we can use Brianna as an example. Again, she has a conjunction. A conjunction is when you have multiple planets or objects inside of one zodiac sign house. So an example is like Neptune, Uranus here, Mercury, Sun here. And most times your Mercury and your Sun will be either 1 or 0 zodiacs apart, but that's not so important. Point is, a conjunction means they're in the same house, which means they're in the same energy. So when things are in a conjunction, you would literally just look at Venus and Uranus. To have harmony, you need to be unique. To have unconditional love, you need to be an individual. To have peace, you need to innovate things. That's what a conjunction would mean, is these two planets now are working together, doing the same thing in the same zodiac. So the best way to figure out what the planets each do, and I'll be honest, when I first was learning astrology, y'all, I had these charts up while I was reading my chart. So, does that answer your question though? Yes, aspects 100% do affect.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the aspects and also the degrees, because I'm sure you talked about degrees earlier, but I wasn't really here for that. I just also wanted to know how the degrees in Aquarius in our chart affect the new moon. I mean, the Aquarius moon.
Yeah, okay, I'll show you how to do it for your chart real quick. And then after this, we'll take a slight break. What's your birthday?
June 27th,
May
1999. 11:40 a.m. New York City.
Also type 77 in the chat if you're still here. Okay, and then Sydney, you said Aquarius is here for you. You're looking at what?
The degree of Aquarius and how that affects.
What's your question? Like, I want your whole question.
I was just wondering if the degree, because I remember when I came in, you were talking about how the Aquarius moon right now is at 8 degrees and how it's going to move through it and go to the sun that's at 12 degrees. So I was wondering if our Aquarius placements in our charts and the degree, like how you were mentioning earlier, how do they correspond? Like, do they affect each other or?
Yes.
Okay.
So each degree has a zodiac attached. That's degree theory. I don't want to confuse you too much with that. So I'll just tell you what it means, but also the degrees show you how old or how aged a planet is inside of a house. So for every day that the moon is in Aquarius, out of the 2.5 days that it's in Aquarius, it's going up in degrees. When a planet's going retrograde, it's going down in degrees. So it's becoming immature. Okay. And that's why we have immature conversations, for example. Or when it's moving forward, we have more mature, progressive conversations. So when you're looking at anything in your chart, everything matters. If you want like a straight up answer, start with what is your question? What are you looking for? So if I were you asking this question, I would say, okay, my South Node is in my 5th house. What does my past purpose have to do with my love life? Because 5th house rules romance. So what you've probably been experiencing is either old lovers or old behavioral patterns from previous romances, or it could easily be something to do with your creativity and what stifled you in the past. Has either one of those two happened?
Yeah, my creativity, I feel like, has been stifled.
Yeah. So the way we would address it is, first of all, the solution is you need to share more. It's not that you're stifled, you're just not talking about it. And that's the release that you need from the block. The block is you're not saying enough, or you haven't changed up the way that you do say what you say, right? So I'm a big believer in, if you have something creative, don't rely on your friends and family to help you. You need to reach the world. The world is who's going to buy it. Your family and friends are going to be there clapping for you. Okay. So we can't make the family and friends, your main supporters. That's not their role. So the first thing you need to do to salute this is share it more, push it on TikTok, push it on Twitter, push it on, other platforms where there are other people, because Aquarius is about everyone else. This is why Aquarius energy usually is like very self-containing. It's because they're very good at giving to everyone. That's just how the sign works. So does that answer your question right off the top?
Actually, it really does, because I actually am a little afraid of like putting myself out there and like sharing and speaking out. But that makes so much sense, because I feel like I'm stopping myself by not expressing myself and sharing my creativity. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
I got you. We're going to go a little bit deeper though. I want to like really dive into it because I know some of you are going to want some readings later, and I want to just show you how deep we can really get to help. So we have South Node in Aquarius. South Node Aquarius, I only know this because I read like a couple of books about it, like 3 books. But you have a struggle sometimes with friends being lovers and lovers being friends. And it can cause your relationship with yourself to be a little boundless too. So you'll share important creative things with friends or lovers, but then not necessarily with the general public. Or when you do tell a friend or a lover about your creative things, if they don't support you in a way that encourages you, you'll retract and think that you need to change it, when in fact you need to change it after you show it to the public.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And it's funny that you said like friends and lovers, because I definitely can relate to that heavy.
Yeah. So the next step is when we look at the aspects like you asked about. All I did here was just click on aspects. I'm using Luna Astrology, by the way. I do work with the man. His name's Kevin. If you're interested in getting Luna Astrology software, definitely just bang my line, hit me up, DM me, email me. It also is right in front of you, lunaastrology.com. It is a monthly service. You can also pay $36 for a year. The only thing I would say that's different between this and the free services is I personally just love having a bunch of charts that I can keep, because I look at people's charts all the time. But if you're not there, that's totally cool. This can still bring you tons of value. It's just cool looking. But you have your South Node at an opposition to your Venus. So the next layer, when we're delineating, and I'm doing this all in my head, okay, we can easily type this out. South Node, past, purpose, the purpose you're coming from. The next thing is 5th house. The next thing is opposition, which means lack of communication. Fifth house, romance, kids, creativity. Where am I pulling this information from, y'all? I'm literally, like I said, I just memorized 2 to 5 meanings of each house, but there's tons, especially when you go into like sidereal astrology. There's like 30 meanings for each house. Just pick 5 that you remember, or 3 or 1. Memorize it, and then 3 months later, memorize another one. That's how you really learn astrology, is by studying and then memorizing. If you don't memorize things, that's what's making it hard, but also you don't need to, because it's all right here in front of you. So when we look at 5th house, when we go in depth here, 5th house has to do with romance, love, affairs, play, creativity, fertility, childlike spirit, joy, self-expression, and drama. What I'm getting from you, it's not that you're afraid necessarily, because if that's your problem, it's also your solution. So we need to create a false sense of bravery. The way I would recommend doing that is by being dramatic. That's what Leos do. Leos, they express themselves by being dramatic because it allows them to give an excuse as to why they need to let it out. How people receive that is none of your business. The only thing you can do is express yourself, and whatever people tell you about what they received from you will help you understand, did you communicate well enough? If you didn't, this is the opportunity for you to use Aquarius to share and communicate your thoughts more or better. If you did communicate it correctly, this should tell you that it's okay to be dramatic when expressing yourself. Okay, that's how you would use the opposition, because there's a lack of communication. So what do we need to do? If there's a lack of communication between you and you, we need to create communication, because that's the opposite, right? Opposition. Go ahead, Sydney. Yeah, you're still on. You're still up. Side node can also be called K2. What are you gonna say? Sorry about that.
Oh no, I was gonna say thank you, because that really changed my perspective on everything. I don't know why I never thought about doing the opposite of the opposition. So that definitely makes sense.
I got you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I have a Sag moon, Pisces sun. So I just like to reinvent things in my head. I'm like, how do we gaslight ourselves into a solution? Because the other stuff's not working, right?
Oh, literally.
Okay, and speak. What's poppin'? Oh, actually, sorry, I'm gonna take a break. 1 second. I did want to real quick. I do real quick want to let you all know that the link in my bio has changed. If you found this really helpful, I would really appreciate it if you went and tipped me on, you know, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. I'd really appreciate it. It all does go back into me doing more research. Even as I'm traveling, I'm literally taking journal entries on each of the lines that I'm hitting. So when I do astrocartography content, I'll be able to give you my real life experience as to how the different lines will affect you, so that when you decide to go into your Venus line, your Mars line, your wherever you want to move to or anything, or just information period, it all goes back into my research for you. Because this obviously astrology is way bigger than me. So I'm just here to share as much as possible in these classes. So I also look forward to seeing you in the next class. I'll have that posted up and ready by tonight. But the biggest thing I wanted to share with you too, for those of you who hit the link in my bio, I have a lot of new things that I'm offering you based on astrology, based on technology, based on TikTok. So I do have a discovery call available here for you. Basically, I figure out in your chart if you can do social media and what kind of things you would talk about energetically that people would align with. I do have several clients that I work with now where I help them identify what that is for themselves. And this call is really designed for that. If you'd like a full reading, I do also have that available. But if you're looking for more coaching from me and you'd like to just like have me coach you and use my Aries rising, my Capricorn placements to like plan for you and educate you on things, I have private coachings, I have 30-day coachings, and I have 60-day coachings. The coaching, I will say, does involve a lot of business. So I'll sit there and write out an entire business plan with you. If you're like a reader or you want to become a reader, if you want to like educate people full time and learn how to make up to about $10,000 a month, this price is really, it makes a lot of sense for people, because if you're paying me, you know, less than $10,000 to teach you how to make $10,000 by showing you exactly what I do, that will help you make that amount of money every single month. So whether that's, you know, the one meeting for 111, the 30-day session, which is what a lot of people go with, or the 60-day session, I'm really here to just give you the tools to get creative, as well as use your intuition and your chart. For those of you who don't want coaching, that's totally cool. Didn't mean to disturb you. Didn't mean to give you the impression that that's the only thing I offer either. I do readings for 144 right now. Twin flame readings are 222. Those are synastry readings. So what I'd be doing is taking your chart, and let's just say me and Sydney are in a deep romantic relationship, and we've, you know, recently fallen in love. Not that this would ever happen, but let's just pretend. Okay, Sydney. What I would do is do a synastry chart, which is where I look at Sydney's chart, which is in the middle here, and I look at, you know, me, for example, and how do we connect? Luckily, I am an asteroid astrologer and a synastry astrologer, so this is, for me at least, very easy to understand. But I would help you understand, you know, how the relationship could work, and then I would also make a composite chart. A composite chart is really just a combination of two people's charts. And it's kind of like they had a baby, but it's really just a relationship. So we would make a composite chart. So for example, Sydney and myself, we are a Taurus and we have a Cancer rising. So it'd be a very stable connection, and it would also be emotionally and intuitively nurturing because of that Cancer rising. So these are just some of the things that I can help you with if you're kind of learning what a relationship looks like for you. And also if you're planning on traveling, going anywhere, you want to, you know, leave the country because America's going downhill, astrocartography is a great way to look at some wonderful places that you may have already been thinking about, but now we can look at the astrocartography and see, you know, how that aligns with you. So we type in astrocartography, we go to astro.com, we look at our chart. And like I said before, right now I'm in Cali. So if you go to Cali, you know, Los Angeles is right here. All you got to do is click on the line closest to where you want to go or where you are, either one. And if there's multiple, click on all of them. Click on all of them. Click on all of them. I have to say it 3 times because I'm a Pisces Mercury. I know someone will ask, which one should I be looking at? All of the ones that are close to where you want to go. This site will literally tell you word for word what the line means, and you just got to decide, is that what I want? If it's a yes, book the plane ticket, train ticket, car, and go. If it's not, don't go. That's all, okay? And that's available as an astrocartography reading. I also do make music. Please go check that out. Last but not least, I do have exclusive classes where I kind of teach you exactly word for word what I do. So I do have a using astrology with TikTok course where I show you how to use your chart and how to post, how to go viral, how to use the trends in alignment with your chart to go viral, how to just make TikToks and how to build an audience very quickly so that you can have a platform of people who are just like you that can also connect with you and other things. Moon manifestation guide, which I just taught you, but this goes in depth. And then how to read your birth chart. And then I also do have a using astrology to grow your business. If you're someone who wants to use your chart to make a business, this is really valuable. I would actually recommend getting using astrology to grow your business and the TikTok course because those two go hand in hand. It was actually a 2-day class that I held. And the first day is how to grow business. The second day is TikTok. So that's all I had. If anyone has any questions about that, send me a chat and I'll answer your questions, but we can continue with the Q&A. And the next person is Anne Spake.
Hi, so my name is Amandine.
It's what?
Amandine.
Amandine?
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a French name.
Okay, bet.
So the day of the new moon is actually my solar return.
Yeah.
And it's also the day where the moon crosses my fortunae.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know if I can only rely on verbal affirmation and how I can work that out with a plan like you showed us earlier. Yeah. And also the house that housed the Aquarius in my chart is the 4th house, but it's a house that holds a lot of drama and stress. So I was wondering how I could maybe turn it out to be a better house, I guess.
Yeah. So part of fortune, for those of you who don't know, in astrology represents our success in this lifetime. So when we're using part of fortune right now, part of fortune for everyone is in Virgo. Part of fortune is it's a calculation. It's based off of the sun, moon, and rising of the chart. So it's yours will be for your chart, it'll be based off your sun, moon, and rising. And then there's something called a day chart and a night chart. If your sun is above the 6th through the first to the 6th house up here, it means that your success is public. If your sun is below this bottom half here, it can imply that your success is more internal. So yeah, if you have part of fortune, for example, in the 1st through the 6th house, it means that your success, your worldwide success, or your overall success is internal. So that's the first thing, is that your success is internal. And using the zodiac sign Aquarius, you don't have to do verbal affirmations, but you need to communicate and share ideas. So you can write, you can type, you can speak, you can, if you have mastered telekinesis, you can use mental dexterity to actually communicate with other people. But I would always recommend writing, speaking, talking, something where you can literally talk to another person. It's very, again, hard to accomplish anything unless you communicate with people. And that's why we have 3 air signs. Like we have 3 water signs, 3 fire signs, and 3 earth signs. So that we have a full, chart that's well-rounded. The biggest thing with the 4th house for you is the 4th house represents your home. What I would recommend is reorganize your house so that you can communicate correctly. Look up feng shui and look at how maybe your house is not necessarily, or your space is not necessarily conductive to what you want. Because I remember there was a time period where I had my ancestor altar was facing south when the sun rises in the east. And that by itself was affecting my manifestations, because my manifestations were not going in the direction of rising. They were going in the direction of, where nothing is. So just those little tweaks in your home, even burning different incense, or, just rearranging the house to be more in alignment with what you want to see happen for yourself, can be one of many ways, because the 4th house does represent the home. You could also, success again comes for you internally. What brings you joy when you're talking? What makes you foam at the mouth a little bit? What makes you excited? That's what you want to talk about, speak about, or express, because that's going to bring you success. For me, it's astrology. Sometimes I'm talking and I'm like fucking foaming at the mouth like a rabid dog, and it's because I'm obsessed. Okay, so what are you obsessed with? What do you get passionate about when people start talking about it? What makes you feel like, oh my God, I need to just talk? That's going to be the thing that you want to share ideas and thoughts around.
All right. Thank you so much, Sunny.
You're welcome. Girl, you welcome.
Thanks.
All right, Steffi, what's popping?
So I was wondering, should I use this new moon to manifest more goals towards my career, because my midhaven is in Aquarius in the 10th house?
Mm-hmm. So anytime, let me break this down. I have an answer for you in my head, but I need to show you how I'm getting the answer. So manifesting goals, we don't manifest goals, we plan goals. First thing, the wording is important for your mind. Midheaven in astrology represents your career, how people see you publicly, your image. Aquarius, type it in the chat. What does Aquarius mean, everybody? Type it in the chat.
Teaching, connecting with others.
Perfect.
Sharing ideas and thoughts.
So what you do, Steffi, is instead of manifesting your goals, let's plan them out using the law of assumption action plan if you want to gaslight yourself into success. If you prefer to use the law of attraction plan, that's fine too. But we just got to get clear about what are your desires, because when we have midheaven in Aquarius in 10th house there too, It's about how people see you publicly. So for me, for example, the way I used it last is my 10th house is in Capricorn. So during Capricorn season, I took a lot of time to figure out what I wanted to post for content. And I just kind of changed up the angles. I got a new phone because I wanted people to look at my image, which is a midheaven thing. I wanted people to see me clearly. I wanted to communicate specific things in alignment with Capricorn season. So for Aquarius season, what you should be doing is if your midheaven is in Aquarius in the 10th house, you are naturally someone who gets famous for helping others. But if you're not doing that publicly or in a way that people can see it, that's the issue. So when you're manifesting your plans and your goals, you should be manifesting, I publicly help people and it brings me wealth. I serve the community in the public eye. Like if you wanted to ever do like be on neighborhood government committees, or if you ever wanted to run for, you know, a position in your local office, or if you wanted to start a business that helps kids, you know, share something with themselves, do it. Just do it. Plan on how you need to get there. Do you need people to support you? Okay, great. Start using TikTok, start using Twitter, start using Discord, start using platforms that can help you get people without you having to knock every single door. Okay, we want to innovate what that looks like because that's what Aquarius does. The other thing that I would recommend here is your career being Aquarius, it really has a lot to do with technology. So if you're someone who says, oh, I'm not good with technology, get good. Hire someone, take a course, watch a YouTube video, whatever it takes for you to get good at whatever it is that you're struggling with. For example, I still really don't use Discord, but I watched this like 2-hour video and made a whole Discord channel so that, you know, the 500 people that are inside my Discord channel right now, they can talk. I don't know. I still do not really know how to use Discord, but I just followed everything that the free YouTube video taught me so I could create that space. So that's what I would recommend for you is just study the way that you want your image to be perceived and then do it.
So part two to that question, my sun being in opposition with my midheaven, how does that affect me?
So oppositions, what you do is do the opposite of what you're doing now.
Okay.
I know you hate that answer, but
it's
not working. You got to do the opposite. There's no, I wish I could bullshit.
It's like I'm so good at what I talk about in person, but I know that I have to use, you know, social media to expand. It's just
do it like Oprah. Do it like Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, big ass Aquarius people, right? You have to talk. It doesn't work unless you talk. Podcast, YouTube, whatever, just try them all. Whichever one is the least convenient, stick with that. I never wanted to use TikTok. I just got good at it because it was the way that worked for me. If I'd gone viral on something else, I would just stuck there, but it happened on TikTok. So I'm just going to do what works. Fuck my feelings. It has everything to do with, I have a goal. And if I find a way to make that goal work, I'm going to stick with the route that it's working. I'm not going to be in my feelings about whether it's working or not. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, it's not. That's just me though.
I get it. My North Node is in Aries, so I have no problem making mistakes until I get it right.
Facts. And the more mistakes, exactly, the more mistakes you make, the better you get at it. Right? So have fun. That's the biggest thing. Find fun in failure. A lot of people, they fail and they beat themselves up. And it's like, dude, the fact that you failed means that you tried, and that's really great. Most people don't even go that far.
Exactly. That's something I explain to people regularly. So I just have to take my own advice.
Take your own advice, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Wait, appreciate you.
All right, baby, I'm gonna help you.
Amanda.
Hey, hi, Sunny. So you actually already kind of answered my question. I was gonna ask about the fortune as well, like because I have a fortune in Aquarius, and I just started kind of like realizing where I have Aquarius in my chart and air signs in general because of this new moon. And so I would just wanted to clarify like what you said earlier. When you were talking about like the sun sign and like the 1 through 6 above, were you talking about like the house placements of where you have it, or
Yeah. So if you have a planet,
okay,
like if you ask yourself a question and that planet or that thing that rules that topic is above those degrees that we're talking about, all that means is that it's going to be public. Anything that's in the top half of your chart is public. Anything in the bottom half is private.
oh okay.
So if you have Venus in the top half of your chart, you're more likely to have a relationship that's public. If it's in the bottom half of your chart, it's more likely to be like hidden or like more personal.
Oh, okay. I think I was just overthinking it. Okay. All right, cool.
Lit.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So I see that we don't have any other questions. Or actually, yeah, we don't have any other questions. So yeah, this is the perfect time here to end the meeting. I really appreciate all of you stopping in and linking up with me. I am going to stay on the call here for a second. I'm looking for my computer charger. So if the call ends, it's because my computer died. But shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. If you have any interest in the coaching or anything that I showed you earlier, I am taking people for a less expensive price. I'm going to alter that price right now. I'm going to take like $200 off of each thing, except for the things that are already under $200, just to encourage you. And I'll give it about, today's what, Monday? I'll give you until about Friday. If you're interested in getting the coachings, I'm going to take a couple $100 off for everybody just for this week. For those of you who want to grow on TikTok, who want to learn astrology, learn how to start a business, or learn how to make 10K a month. This month, I made $21,000, which is fucking insane because I haven't made this much before. But I definitely am in the business of teaching people how I did it because it really wasn't that hard. And I'm actually like surprised that I didn't do this 3 years ago. But I feel like it would help a lot of people, especially if you've been curious about how to price your stuff, how to like do business, how to use TikTok, how to grow your platform, all these little things that can really help you. I really want to put you in a position to do that. What's up, Maddie?
Hey, I just had a quick question in regards to what about the houses where you have no planets?
That means you have nothing to deal with.
You have nothing to deal with in the house?
You just have the house. So if there's nothing in the house, there's nothing to think about because there's no extra ingredients.
Okay. So don't even pay attention to those. Just go to the ones that you have things in.
No, I didn't say that. If you have an empty house and you want to know, for example, something about your career, but you don't have anything in planetary in your 10th house, you would just focus on the zodiac sign.
My zodiac sign.
The zodiac sign that rules the house.
The zodiac sign that rules the house. Okay.
If there's no planets, then there's no extra ingredients. So it's like you're just eating ramen in the water. If there's planets and stuff, then that's where we start to add the corn, the peas, the carrots. But if there's nothing there, you don't need the vegetables in that specific cup of the house.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
For sure. Cool. But yeah, I wanted to just express gratitude to all of you. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to all of you gaining like tons and tons of success with some of these strategies that I taught you. Please come to the next class. What really helps me, I know there's only a couple people in here, 20 people. What really helps is if you go on Instagram or on TikTok and just share your experience for like, 15 to 30 seconds. There's a lot of people that could benefit from this, and I would love to teach them too. The one thing that I have in my chart that really sucks, but also I'm working with daily, is I have a Pisces Mercury. So sometimes I'll say things and I won't really make sense publicly. That's the one part that sucks, is I have all of this like followers or whatever, but half the time they don't know what the fuck I'm saying. So some of you have better charts for expressing what you learned in this class and how it benefited you or what you like experienced. So for those of you who want to give me a review, a public review, I would love to offer you a gift in return. So all you got to do is just tag me on Instagram or on TikTok in your video, in your story, or in your post about what you learned, how it benefited you, what you're going to be doing with this energy. I think that would be really helpful for both of us. And in return, I'll send you a gift over. Right now, if it's like 10 people, I'll give you all the same gift. But if it's like 20 people, 15 people, then I'll just give you one of my classes that I taught recently on social media, just to say thank you. Because again, it really helps when other people speak on what they experienced, because I can't say what Amy felt or what BJ felt or, what Jenny felt or what Karen felt or what Rita felt. Only you can. So that would be a huge, huge help for me, and I would really appreciate that. Also, I know some of you know I make music. I would really, really, really be super grateful if you went and followed me over on Spotify and Apple Music and stream the song or share it. It helps with the algorithm over there. I actually have full intentions to make money full-time off of music and teach astrology and spiritual stuff for free. But right now, where I'm at, I have to charge people to teach them astrology instead of just having people stream my music. So I would really, really appreciate all the love and support over there. It's Sunny Space MF Money on Spotify and Apple Music, just like my other handles. I just did drop a song called La Toxica. It's about Capricorns. If you're a Capricorn, I'm not sorry. Y'all are fucking toxic and I love it. So I had to make a song about you. So that's all I wanted to say real quick. Thank you so much for coming with, great questions and coming with an open mind. I hope that I was able to, give you a lot of value today. And for those of you who are watching the recording, thank you also for being here and supporting. I know that, sometimes this $20 can, help you with something else, but I really try to push and pump a lot of value into all my classes, into all of my courses, into all of my coaching, so that you get a lot, from what we're talking about. So again, mad grateful for all of you. And yeah. And again, for those of you who want to, go on your story and express yourself, or if you post a TikTok, I'm going to repost it. And that, I don't know, should help you too if you're someone who's looking to get more followers or more engagement with your stuff. Anytime bigger accounts rock with you in any way on social platforms, people usually go towards you as well. So there's another benefit to that. But yeah, I would love if y'all joined into the classes for next full moon. And then also the coaching, I'm going to be taking a couple $100 off right now, so that for those of you who may have had some pricing issues or some, money things, so that we can get that going for you.
I have a question. Are you gonna send us the link, or do we just go to your bio on your TikTok?
Yeah, so I'll put the link in my bio. Because if there's something specific that you want, it's all gonna be there. I just put in the chat for you. But here, let me go and change the prices. So on the 60-day coaching, I just took the $200 off for everyone. What if we signed up for coaching during the last full moon class? Shoot me an email, because you should have gotten a link from me.
Sunny, sorry, real quick. Is your email in your link?
My email is sunthepisces@gmail.com, and it should be in there for you.
Okay. You said Sun the Pisces?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So I adjusted both of the prices for the coaching just now, and I'm gonna go on mute. If anyone has any questions, you can just type me in the chat and I'll respond, and I'll pop back on in a few moments. All right, I'm back. And I have not found my computer charger, so we might just hop off here. Can we upgrade to the 2 months? Yes, you can. Steffi, you can pay the difference. Jenny, what's your email? Okay, Jenny, I'm emailing you back right now. Thank you. All right, Jenny, I'm emailing you back right now. You get that link from me. You're welcome. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Check your emails. And if you have anything you would like to speak on, definitely hit me up. For those of you, again, who share, what you got from this class on social media, I will be responding to you. Make sure to tag me so I see it, so I can get that link over to you. And again, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for sitting here patiently. I know this one didn't go too far, but we did finish at 4:30 exactly. So that was super lit. And yeah, I'll be DMing y'all today. I'm about to just go kind of like manifest real quick and plan a little bit. But I hope this was helpful to everyone, which I'm sure it was. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a great new moon. Peace.